Crown has you covered. Start your day with the first word. Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the working lunch. Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First word for your morning sports. The working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Midday in the Queen City, business is booming, cities are buying property, and people are selling it too. Let's do lunch. Cincinnati is a city that means business. Fortune 500 company HQs,
renowned institutions like Children's Hospital and the Cincinnati Zoo, and letters that everyone here knows: TQL, GE, CVG, UC, and X. It's also a city that's large enough for new ideas to take root and grow. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in business. I'm Jack Crumley, and this is The Working Lunch.
Hello, welcome to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. This is our hour-long business show here on The Crown, where we bring you updates about what businesses and local companies are doing. We bring you exclusive interviews with business owners and local leaders, and we try to squeeze in a bite to eat, maybe sometimes something to drink before you go back to face the afternoon. Glad to have you. Cincinnati business headlines. Kicking us off, we've got big news to start. You can see it right there on the screen. Not unlike the city of Cincinnati helping to finance 3CDC's purchase of St. Francis Seraph Church, the city of Newport, Kentucky is buying the Brass Ass, Brass Bull, and Huddle's Cafe. I said not unlike, not exactly like. Those businesses all abruptly shut down about 3 weeks ago. The city buying multiple properties there along Monmouth Street, right in the middle of downtown Newport, spending nearly $4 million so city leaders can be in the driver's seat for what redevelopment there will look like. A statement from Newport Mayor Tom Gaduli calls this a new era for that part of town, to build a stronger downtown and better quality of life for everyone in Newport. It's a big page turn, as that stretch of road really represents what Newport used to be: strip club and alleged mob ties. Police have been dispatched to that area more than 1,200 times since the year 2021 for fights and gunshots. And I did the math. It's been about 2,000 days since 2021. So very generally speaking, that is a police run there every other day for the last 5 years. Newport's purchase agreement also transfers the names of those businesses to the city, so they can't be set up elsewhere. I have reached out to Newport city leaders trying to find out more, though it is early days, on what this plan will turn into. In robot news, we have a picture from Regional Chamber CEO Brendan Cull's LinkedIn page as he attended the launch of a company in Camp Washington, that company being called 1872 AI, which is a steel fabrication company coming up with fully automated factories. It says that its mission is to remove supply chain bottlenecks that are limiting America's infrastructure. 1872 AI was founded by Dan Summers, who is a former engineer for SpaceX, and he raised about $15 million in seed capital. Take a look at this video. Steve Watkins with the Business Courier says that this factory is going to use robotics and traditional welders for projects. But a big part of 1872's model is to fill a gap in workers, as fewer welders are entering that field compared to those who are leaving. 1872 is named after the first year that Andrew Carnegie produced steel. More than 1,000 new jobs are coming to Springfield. An aviation company called Electra is going to build a plant that looks like that when the sun hits it just right. That plant going to be coming to Springfield, Ohio. It will be Electra's first production facility for the EL-9 Ultra Short, which is a hybrid electric plane that looks like this. Looks like that when the sun hits it just right. It's an $850 million investment in Clark County that the company says will create nearly 2,000 jobs. A joint statement put out with Jobs Ohio says this factory is to help meet demand for something called direct aviation, described as a new category of accessible point-to-point air mobility. These planes can take off and land in as little as 150 feet. The statement that got put out says that Electra chose the 96-acre Springfield site after going through more than 140 possible locations over the course of a year. The initial phase of production going to make 400 of those planes per year, and then twice that in phase 2. The statement says that state and local incentives are part of the deal, which means tax breaks, but we don't know how much. And finally, congratulations to Todd Johnson, the new CEO of Verst Logistics in Northern Kentucky. He'll take on that title starting August 1st. He has been the president and COO of Verst Logistics since 2019. A statement by the company calls his appointment the next step in Verst Logistics' long-term leadership succession plan, giving strategic direction and overseeing performance. Paul Verst has been CEO since 1992. He's now going to transition to executive chairman in order to focus on long-term strategy and industry relationships. So that sounds like he will still be very much part of the equation. The company is based in Walton, Kentucky, but it has multiple facilities and warehouses across the area, and it recently made moves into an office park in Erlanger, not far from CVG. And that's a good time to pivot into today's Big Bite. Verst is one of many logistics companies that are here. What's the deal with logistics companies? So I wanted to do a little bit of a dive into that industry here in the Cincinnati area. Let's keep going with Verst for a minute. Verst has been going since 1966, when it was founded by Bill Verst, and several hundred of those thousands of workers are in Kentucky. Verst Logistics provides transportation, warehousing, product fulfillment, and packaging services for manufacturers in food and beverage, health and beauty, hardware, and automotive industries. It did an estimated $300 million plus in revenue last year. And among their most recent accomplishments, Verst Logistics worked out a shipping logistics plan for, you see it there in the sand, Surfside iced tea vodka, which includes using Verst's automated lines that pack cans and then have them ready for shelf at shipping. Another big logistics company in this area is one with letters that everyone here knows. Hit it.
Hey guys, welcome to TQL. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Darian. Today we're going to show you around our campus.
TQL is the second largest freight brokerage in North America, founded in 1997.
And we've always been headquartered here in Cincinnati, Ohio.
First, you'll want to hit up the Rise and Grind, our full-service coffee shop where you can get your favorite seasonal drinks.
If you want to stock up on your TQL swag, make sure you check out the TQL Gear Shop.
Hungry? Come down to our TQL Cafe, where we have plenty of delicious options for both breakfast and lunch.
Welcome to the TQL Gym. We have over 60 different machines, a yoga room, and a fully furnished locker room as well.
This is our connector, where TQLers can catch a little break, celebrate a win, or engage in friendly competition.
And this is the newest addition to our campus. We have a large lounge area and a convenience store where you can get all your favorite snacks.
Switch up your meetings and work on your short game at our golf simulator.
Let's take it outside. We have a full-size basketball court where you can compete with your friends and a walking trail that goes all the way around our building.
Thanks for joining us on the tour of TQL today.
Hope you enjoyed all of our amazing amenities that we have to offer.
We hope to see you again soon.
So just to refresh, that is the biggest logistics company in town. And I'm not sure if you caught that stat about halfway through the video. TQL's headquarters is 400,000 square feet. That is massive. Total Quality Logistics employs over 9,000 people across more than 60 offices in the U.S., operating a carrier network of more than 110,000 members who move nearly 4 million shipments every year. You get all those stats? TQL is a private company, so they don't publicly release annual reports. It's estimated, though, that annual revenue for TQL is more than $6.5 billion. TQL's naming rights deal for the FC Cincinnati Stadium in the West End is valued between $60 and $80 million. And when I was putting all this together, I got to say, I was really surprised at the number of local logistics companies that are producing social media videos like this one.
This is a day in my life as an account executive at National Logistics Service. First things first, I'm getting here at 8 a.m., so I gotta get caffeinated. I've got a ton of freight drivers to check in with this morning, so I'm getting straight to work answering emails and making phone calls. This pretty much takes me until lunchtime, but I managed to make a huge dent in my list of calls before I enjoy a little chicken and broccoli for lunch. After I've eaten, I'm ready to jump back into making sure all of my drivers and customers are getting what they need to get the job done.
And you can see there that it's social media that is selling a lifestyle. That's interesting. National Logistics Services, seen there, on Cheviot Road, says that it had a record-breaking first 6 months of the year, and a number of its posts on multiple platforms are centered on recruiting or just selling the concept of a career in logistics. That's really just a handful of the logistics firms here in the tri-state, and it is a booming industry here. Take a look at this breakdown by the Economic Development Group called READY. You can see the big number there that I highlighted for you, about 110,000 people here working in logistics and distribution. That is second only to business and professional services, and I'm sure you can imagine how broad of a category that is. One other bit of economic stats by Ready that I wanted to show you when it comes to the supply chain specifically. Cincinnati's master service agreement supply chain has seen nearly 10% growth in jobs with nearly $19 billion in gross regional product. But it's the stats on the top half that really got my attention. #1 metro area for population access within a one-day drive, and the #1 inland port in the country. That all made me think about what we talked about earlier this week with Cincinnati's history producing pork back in the 19th century and how our location and access to the Ohio River made this a very desirable area. We are still in a great spot geographically. It's location, location, location. The I-75 corridor runs some 1,800 miles right through here from the Great Lakes to Miami, and roughly 19% of traffic on that interstate is heavy trucks. Plenty of rail activity here, too. There are 7 Class 1 railroads in North America, and that's the kind typically known for long-haul transportation with as few stops as possible. Of those 7, both CSX and Norfolk Southern operate here in the tri-state. 64% of all the rail miles in this region are operated by those 2 railroads. And don't forget about CVG when it comes to air travel. Among the top 10 largest cargo airports on this continent, and home to Amazon's primary U.S. air hub and DHL's global super hub for the Americas. Cincy Magazine did a piece about logistics in the area not too long ago and talked with former CVG CEO Candace McGraw. She said that the strategic focus for her is to leverage, say it with me, location. She says hundreds of acres of available land created efficiencies for the air cargo supply chain, and it's a ripple effect as well. Amazon and DHL's cargo growth and increase in cargo flights in general lowered the cost for all activity coming into and going out of CVG. Peter Brennan of Link Logistics here in town recently said that the most compelling forward-looking story in Cincinnati, in his opinion, is Amazon's air freight hub and what kind of growth is expected to come. All these logistics companies in Cincinnati helping businesses do business, which is a business in and of itself. That's your Big Bites. Hey, we got to take a break. When we come back, speaking of business, commercial realtor and friend of the show, Josh Rothstein, is going to give us an update on his new job, what he's seeing in the real estate market, and more. Coming up, take a look at some stocks of local interest. You are watching The Working Lunch on The Crown. Stick around, more to come.
This city has always had something to prove. While the rest of the country talked about us, we built our own voice. Blue collar, underdogs, built differently, overlooked, talked about like we were supposed to stay quiet. But that was never who we were, because this city doesn't wait for permission. And neither do we. And now, for the first time, Cincinnati has a network built in its image, because the biggest stories in this city deserve more than highlights. This isn't cable television. This isn't national media. This is ours. This is The Crown.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with the first word. Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the working lunch. Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First word for your morning sports. The working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
My name is Jack Crumley. I've been covering news in Cincinnati on the radio for the last 20 years. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but Cincinnati has always felt like home since day one. I've seen so many things accomplished here, and now, with the working lunch, I get to write, read, and talk about them every day. Hard-working people with a drive and a dream. Innovative ideas that help shape this city. Cincinnati is a great city, and I'm excited to tell you about it every day.
My name is James Rapine, and I host First Word every weekday morning, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Prior to joining The Crown Network, I covered the Bengals for Sports Illustrated for 6 seasons. I also am the founder of Cincinnati Bengals Talk on YouTube and wrote the book, Enter the Jungle, a history of the Cincinnati Bengals. Couldn't be more excited to join you every weekday morning for First Word right here on The Crown.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley, joined now by commercial real estate extraordinaire Josh Rothstein, who is now the vice president at Colliers, vice president for Cincinnati and Dayton. Is that is that the official title?
Yep, and it also incorporates Northern Kentucky.
Cincinnati, Northern, yeah,
Yep.
the whole, yeah. So welcome back, by the way. You
Thank you,
were a guest here on the show back in the early days of late April 2026. Glad to have you back. And you've had some big changes. You have changed jobs and are working for a whole other outfit now. How has that been?
Yes, so I was at the last firm for 14 years, and an opportunity presented itself for growth, for involvement in other disciplines in commercial real estate, and to join a dramatically growing team at Colliers, and I just couldn't turn it down. So here we are. That change happened right after I was on the show, so I'm about 2.5 months into it. It's been great so far. My exposure to different facets of commercial real estate has already been prevalent, and I truly am loving it.
Yeah, that's great, because first of all, I know what it's like when an opportunity comes along that you can't say no to. And, you know, I remember when that transition happened, when Colliers announced it, they put out a very complimentary announcement about bringing you in. That's got to make you feel great.
It was awesome. And then the Business Courier and the Inquirer picked it up. And look, to me, I just basically went from one brokerage to another. People do that in real estate, in residential and commercial all the time. But then this news thing comes out, and I'm getting all these wonderful notes of congratulations and phone calls, and really excitingly, listing opportunities from folks that say, hey, now that you're with Colliers, they have a huge international platform. Can you sell my building? Can you lease my restaurant space? So truly, it's been marvelous so far.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, for being in such a relationship sort of business, having new people reaching out to form new connections with you, that's like the dream, right?
Yeah, it's been cool. And then what's even more exciting is that Colliers, after being at 425 Walnut, right across from Fountain Square, for over 15 years, they moved offices to the GE building at the Banks.
Okay, right on.
At the same time that I started. So it was nice for me to have also a fresh start while everybody else had a fresh start, moving into this beautiful tower.
That's cool.
Right in the middle of downtown in between the Bengals and the Reds stadium.
Yeah.
So it's fun for me to physically go to work, and it's also really exhilarating to be part of this team. So it's been great so far. Thank you.
So this new position, this VP position that you've got, how is this different than what you were doing before? I know last time we were on, we had you on, you were talking a lot of retail and still specifically focused in commercial. How does Colliers now opened up what your bag of tricks is?
So my day-to-day is more or less the same as it relates to the things that I work on. Retail space, restaurant space, commercial buildings, selling and or leasing. That's the same. The differences are Colliers, because it's such a big platform, I can now build a team. So I can build a team of folks who want to do the same kind of work that I do. I am a listing guy, okay? That is still going to stay the same, and it's only going to get bigger, I hope. So I can now have other agents that, whether they've been in residential and they've always wanted to really do commercial, or they've been in commercial and they want to dig deeper into retail, we can take on as many folks as the business that we have supports.
Right on.
So I have that opportunity. So not only am I doing the brokerage work that I've always been doing, but I'm also now sort of managing and leading a team that will grow as I grow through the business, so that more folks can do what we're doing. And to me, my goal is that we become the dominant retail listing players in the greater Cincinnati commercial real estate market.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice goal.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of commercial real estate, since you're here, we had the big announcement sort of at the start of the show about the city of Newport stepping in on buying some, let's say, Newport icons.
That have brass in the name.
That have brass in the name. And the city wanting to really sort of take control of what that becomes. From a commercial real estate perspective, is that something that you like to see? What does that mean from your point of view?
So I love to see that. I should not admit, but I have been to one of those establishments before.
Okay.
And with the growth and the enhancements that not only Newport, but Ludlow, Dayton, Covington, Kentucky are all doing right now, replacing some of the blighted establishments and really improving and enhancing the whole landscape is what is necessary. So I think what Newport did is they seized an opportunity to take property and control it, so that they can be assured that the types of businesses that replace this property will be aligned with the cohesive plan for growth. I think that's the nicest, most politically neutral way to say that.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, Newport is a riverfront city that joins the rest of the riverfront in Kentucky, and they are this close to being just as competitive as any of the nicer areas in Cincinnati. These are the things that will help propel it to get to that place.
Yeah, I was going to say a follow-up to that would be, what other sort of things does Newport need to do to get itself across that line?
I think Newport, look, we've got a big problem with this bridge closure. A lot of these businesses in both Covington and Newport and the rest of northern Kentucky, some of them are really struggling right now. But this is a long-term investment that will help the growth down the road. I think Newport has made those tough decisions, and they're doing all the things that any municipality or city would need to do to stabilize a place and make it so that it's ready for growth down the future. But it's doing these things.
Yeah, right. Yeah, taking the time, making the investment, and for something like that's basically right there on Main Street for all intents and purposes.
If only they could have more landings along the river, so that the boaters out there, Cincinnati too, could have more options for docking. I mean, it's one of the best opportunities that we have as greater Cincinnatians, is that river. There just aren't that many places to stop on it, but that's a dream of mine.
Right on. Okay, well, something to work for.
Maybe. Yeah.
You said you are a listing guy, and social media is such a big part of what you're doing specifically. And I know there's probably a few other folks doing it too, but I mean, you have really leaned into the social media aspect of selling commercial real estate. And I pulled a couple of your more recent listings. You had a sale. I think I got to say, man, this is pretty clever. Doing a 1776 sale for Mikey's Late Night Slice going back to the 4th of July. Was that just a quick passing idea? Or?
Yeah, so right around July 4th, this property is so cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, basically within the last year, there were a lot of issues with Over the Rhine, with crime, etc. But that property, Mikey's Late Night Slice, which is basically next to Rheingeist, it is so cool. Full service, turnkey, bar, restaurant, patio, garage doors, everything you'd ever want. And we just need to make sure that it gets out in front of the folks that are positioned right now to maybe acquire a property like that. So coming up on the heels, the listing price prior to that was $1.8 million. And I'm like, why don't we reduce it to $1,776 in honor of the 250th birthday of America and see if that takes. So just little tricks like that you can use social media to further propel out to the viewers is what we do differently.
Yeah, well, and in terms of little tricks, there's also a post of yours that I made sure to grab because I've always really liked this spot. I didn't realize it was up for sale until I saw your post about it. The Silverton Hardware store, and I know one of the pictures that you had was of I think it was your daughter was in front of the place. Is there? I mean, it's all sort of fair game when it comes to trying to advance the job, right?
Sure. Look. That Silverton Hardware store, which is truly in the heart of Silverton,
That's
which
a
is
staple in that area.
It is, and it's still operational. It's a cool hardware store. They do a great business. You ever need your screen replaced, or you want to understand how tools work, or you need somebody to actually help you? This is not Home Depot or Lowe's.
Yeah, I know. I've used their leather guy.
Yeah. The baggage guy, he does. You would be surprised at the business that guy does. But anyways, that building, that was the first new banner that I had installed. And my daughter, who's going to be 7 soon, as she travels around Cincinnati, she loved pointing out Daddy's banners. So that one being the first of the Colliers, I had to take the photo. But fair game, look, she's adorable. Sure. And I've even done property tours with her. We had a medical space that was a former doctor's office, and I said, Emma, why don't you walk through and give the viewers a tour of the space? And she brought her little stuffed animal and her kid's doctor outfit, and she's like, this is where my lovey gets its heart checked. This is where you get the shots. So again, little tricks, whatever works. And I found that it kind of does. So as long as it stays in bounds and it's different and it gets people watching, the name of the game is get the property out there, market it. There are so many ways to market property. I'm just trying to lean into whatever is at my disposal.
Yeah, sure, because I mean, it's just about getting the word out there. You've certainly leaned into the social media aspect of things and trying to create, for maybe lack of a better word, content that's going to be compelling for folks to, even if they're not in the market to buy a piece of commercial real estate, hey, this guy made a video where he opened up a closet and there was a weird spine in there because it was a chiropractor office. Like, just doing stuff like that's going to get people's attention, I think is, maybe the road less traveled for your industry.
I think so too. And what I found when I started 14 years ago is the degrees of separation that a customer or client of mine sits at. It's not 6 degrees. Sometimes it's 1. It's just a matter of you learning that I have a restaurant for sale. Well, your neighbor is a bar operator and has been looking to open up a restaurant. Or you watching that silly video of a chiropractic office, which is for sale in Westchester. Well, maybe your aunt is a chiropractor and you know that she wants to open up a 3rd office. So whatever I can do to just get it out there, it's just marketing in different ways.
Well, sure. In this town, you're very much about people having connections. It's a relationship industry that you're in. And, when you know somebody who knows somebody. Real quick, speaking of knowing people, I do got to ask you about this one other thing. I found this, City Beat had this picture of a guy that we also had here on the show. This is actually a little bit of a who's who in working lunch cinematic universe lore. Of course, on the far left there is Mark Borison, who's been doing some really great promotional work for Jungle Gyms. We had him on the show early on too. That's you in the middle, and then you guys are both there with Harrison Bear, who's a young man who started this mystery machine vending company. We also had him on the show. I just love the synergy in this thing. What kind of soda did you get? Do you remember?
My daughter got the gold can.
Oh, no kidding.
And I got, if I recall correctly, I think a Diet Cherry 7-Up, which I don't think I've had since I was a little kid. But I remember stumbling upon Harrison on Instagram. He put his stuff out there on social media, and I'm thinking, what is this? But it seems so unique and different. And then I dig a little deeper and learn that he liquidated his 401k. He basically gave up everything to start this idea. And I don't care what industry it is. I am a huge proponent of anybody that invests in themselves. That's what I did when I started in real estate 14 years ago. You don't get a salary. He doesn't get a salary. He just wanted to try this out, and I am in full support of that. So when I saw that he was having that grand opening, which I think was outside of Al's Delicious Popcorn on Main Street, I said, I've got my daughter that day. We're going to go check it out, support this guy. And he had a whole crew. And Mark was there to support him because I think he gets a lot of his drinks
that makes sense.
Yeah,
sure.
through Jungle Gyms, which Mark is a huge proponent of. And look, Cincinnati, it's a small city, but it feels big. You can be connected with people like that.
Yeah.
And we become friendly. And we're going to do some more fun little collaborations in the ensuing months just because I love watching him grow and he needs good locations.
Right.
So I can help him, I can support him, and I just hope that more people in our community do stuff, take that risk, because that's what you really are meant to do in this world if you're not a 9-to-5, sit behind a desk kind of person.
Yeah, sure. And then, finding connections and trying to innovate. That's a constant thing in any industry. We got to take a break. That was abrupt. Sorry about that. But when we come back, we got more with Josh Rothstein, VP for Commercial Real Estate with Colliers, right here in town, in the region, 14 years working on it, and more to come. We've got more to come on the Working Lunch. What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for the Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones. Just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this Crown adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That.
My name's Jacob Tissett, and I'm a co-host of First Word from 7 to 11 every morning right here on the Crown Network, where we will break down the biggest stories in Cincinnati sports. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama, where I spent 4 seasons working for the football team as a student assistant, contributing to the 2020 National Championship and 3 SEC championships. I'm a Cincinnati native, a St. Xavier High School graduate, and will bring a local perspective and passion to covering the Bengals, Reds, and everything in between. I'm excited to have you join us on First Word.
Hey, I'm Marissa Contapelli, one of the co-hosts on First Word and a features producer here on The Crown, where I will be out and about in Cincinnati bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City. Now, I know I'm from Cleveland, but I love my Cincy sports. I've been in Cincinnati for almost a decade now, spending the last 8 seasons with the Bengals as a team reporter and senior producer. I am so excited to be a part of the team here at The Crown, and I can't wait to bring you the latest from around the city.
those long nights, but you never late, you always on time. Remember when you...
Situated right next door to Braxton Brewing Company with one of the best rooftops in all of Greater Cincinnati, we are conveniently located right in the heart of it all. So when it seems impossible to get a reservation in downtown or OTR, just hop across the river and pop into Covington, where there are plenty of spots that you can try out.
I'll never get used to this. This is how I want to live. Forever we'll be singing like, oh, walk about the grave, yeah, I'm alive now. Told the devil, boy, you out of time now. Spirit moving in me on my fire now.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley, joined by VP for Regional Commercial Real Estate for Colliers, Josh Rothstein, joining us. Now, that video, we talk about you putting things up on social media. That isn't even a video that's listing properties that you have for sale. That's you just talking up the area, and that is as valuable to you as potentially anything else that you're putting online. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're listing a commercial space in whatever neighborhood, it's just as important to talk about that neighborhood and that ancillary location as it is the space itself. Who's going to want to go lease a restaurant space or a storefront if the area isn't booming and if there's not good commerce that's to be had? So I do have a listing in Covington, which is within the scope of where that video was, but you're right, that video was deliberately designed to highlight the neighborhood, Covington, the views of Cincinnati that it has, the historical charm that it's always had, and the boom that everybody's experiencing. And that is what I have found adds to more success in listings, just sort of dancing around it, and then it helps to propel the listing itself indirectly.
Yeah, getting people to notice it in general instead of feeling like something's being sold to them.
Right.
You've got an interesting sort of theory about when it comes to, the way a given part of town or a given neighborhood can develop and evolve, and it's the idea of this like sort of anchor thing. And if there can be maybe just one business in a given area that really gets people's attention and is a popular place to be, then everything else can sort of spring up around it. I think you referenced, Goodfellas Pizza in Pleasant Ridge as an example of that. I think the Matamore in Madisonville is another example that you've given of that. Does that apply everywhere?
I think to a certain extent it does. This sort of buzz phrase of live, work, play, really what that means when you strip it apart is that you have to have a reason or reasons for people to be somewhere. Density. If somebody is on the hunt for some sort of commercial real estate, they need to know that there are going to be people there to buy the goods or services that they are going to sell if it's retail real estate. So Pleasant Ridge having Goodfellas, that was a huge stimulus that served as the catalyst for, that did a couple things. It showed that an OTR business, and Goodfellas has a location in Covington as well, but that an OTR business is looking at Little Pleasant Ridge, and by the way, what is Pleasant Ridge? Right. And how are they so special that Goodfellas Pizzeria is interested in opening there? And after that happened, then other businesses followed, and it served as that catalyst for more synergistic shopping and buying to be had in that neighborhood. So yes, wherever it is, it always helps to have that anchor that will draw people there, whether it's a big daytime employer, whether it's a couple good restaurants. You look at the banks. The banks happened primarily because, I'm talking about the retail and restaurant establishments, because it sits in between the Bengals and the Red Stadium. So that served as the catalyst for getting all the other businesses sprinkled in there. And that's what put together the whole project.
What are you seeing, speaking really generally, in the commercial real estate space here in this region? What is it that property owners are worried about? Are we seeing, a lot of big deal always gets made about, when such and such of a restaurant is closing. How much of that is just general life cycle stuff of, circle of life, something opens, something closes, things run their course and then they're done? What are you seeing from like a 30,000 foot perspective?
So I'm seeing that there's a lot of mixed use projects happening, which would be basically multifamily above, storefront space below. I'm seeing that there's sort of this emphasis on developing in the suburbs. I think that a lot of restaurants that started in Over the Rhine at the time when we all became more comfortable with going to Over the Rhine, sort of when Manhattan's commercial vibe fell a little bit and downtown's rose, specifically OTR, a lot of those restaurants and retailers now looking at suburbs. There are mixed-use projects that are happening in Mason, Deerfield Township, Blue Ash, Madisonville, Westchester. And I think that the thesis behind that is a lot of suburbanites, when they've got kids or they've got minivans, and the idea of going downtown, parking a couple blocks away, maybe being a little timid to go back to your car at night while you've got your kids in the stroller. Think about how much more convenient it is when you're going to the suburbs where there's more land, there's more accessible parking, it's easier to get to, it's easier for people to meet you there. It just creates ultimately a more convenient approach. We're also seeing that restaurants are really having a hard time still. It started during COVID, costs rose, people's buying habits changed, people's discretionary income dropped a little bit, which hasn't helped anybody in any industry. So restaurants are having a really hard go at it. It's hard to staff these places anymore. And when you do staff them, a lot of the people, they're fleeting. They're there one day, they're gone the next. So supporting local restaurants has really never been important. Now, when you look at the national chains, like the Outback Steakhouses, the Red Lobsters, a lot of them that I thought were on their way out, they're sort of being revived. They're leaning into nostalgia from the past. One of the restaurants is big on those cheese pool things, and that actually had a huge, it produced a huge spike in their business. So at the end of the day, Jack, you never know. You can read and you can think and you can look at stats, but anything could change at any day, and you have to read up and you have to watch it day to day to stay in front of the curve.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of big national chains, what are you seeing as far as who's interested in leasing space and buying space right now? Is it the local owner? Is it big national chains? Is it still a mix?
It's definitely still a mix. I have seen that the discount shopping, like the TJ Maxxes of the world, those have always stayed strong. And I think they stay strong because there's value. And it's sort of an experience when you know that you can go to a TJ Maxx and you may have a completely different array of product one week to the next. Yeah. So it's sort of like a hunt. This other store just opened up in the Pleasant Ridge area. It's called Crazy Bins. So this is
we talked about them on the show.
It's huge, and people go because they know that they're going to get different product every week, so it creates an experience. Restaurants are still active, for sure, especially when one restaurant closes and leaves behind a space that has the hood, the fire suppression, all the equipment. There is value to that. So the restaurateurs that really want to be in a market or they're staged for growth, they will take those. And then, of course, you got to look out for the Amazon-proof businesses. The storefronts, like you can't get your hair cut on Amazon. You can't really truly go see a doctor on Amazon, even though there's virtual medicine. So those businesses that have not been touched or phased by Amazon or eBay or what have you, those are taking retail space as well.
Interesting. That's interesting. You've been doing this commercial real estate thing for 14 plus years now. What's like one thing that you wish either a prospective client or a landlord, what's like one thing that you wish was more common knowledge for folks?
That this stuff takes time. So I'm in real estate, but people assume that commercial real estate must be similar to residential real estate, where if you want to sell your house, you put it on the market, you should have a couple offers within a few days, and then they should do their inspections, and within another week, you should be ready to basically work through it and then get ready for closing. My deal cycle, I would say on average, it's like 9 months. So it takes a while to get these properties to penetrate through the market. It takes a while to get offers put together. It takes a while for people to get committed to leasing that space and figure out what the build-out's going to be. But if people just knew and realized that you have to be super, super patient relative to what they know of residential real estate, it would make my job a lot easier, my stress level much lower. But it is what it is. I'm used to it.
Interesting. In terms of what's coming up, do you see any signs on your end of maybe a neighborhood that's about to become a little bit more popular, or a business sector that's buying up and setting up shop in different areas? Is there any sort of what's on the radar yet that isn't on the radar yet, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so as Cincinnati and Dayton get closer together and potentially become truly the Cincinnati-Dayton Metroplex, I think people need to look out for Dayton. Southern Dayton up until Oakwood, which is a charming little neighborhood that's very similar to Hyde Park. Middletown, watch out for Middletown. Middletown is poised. It's right in the geographical center of Cincinnati-Dayton. And there are some beautiful homes in Middletown. It used to be thriving, and then it went through its transition. But there's a lot of development on the horizon for Middletown. Hamilton, most of us know that Hamilton has really seen a boom, so that's been great. And then where the Silverton hardware store is. Silverton is to be watched. A lot of people think Oakley is the next best thing or Madisonville is, but Silverton has long not been talked about, but it's surrounded by all of these nice areas. And the development that's happening as we sit here today, AG 47 is doing their next phase. Wawa just opened up a couple of months ago, but there's a lot of turnover still yet to be had, and Silverton is really poised to make a huge comeback, and people should watch out for it.
There we go. Watch out for Silverton. Congratulations, Silverton, on being listed as watch out status. Josh Rothstein, commercial real estate extraordinaire, VP now with Colliers. This is a guy, he's posting things online. He's getting the word out there to folks. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We got to take a break. We'll be back with more Working Lunch after this. Stick around. You're watching The Crown.
We welcome you from Cincinnati, Ohio. Nick Head with the fan favorite to put it away. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Oh, what a catch. Cincinnati can't score. What a pathetic. And look who scores in the Rams
game. Cincinnati sports fans are the best. Loyal, passionate, second to none. This city lives and breathes sports, and now it finally has a morning show to match. I'm James Rapine, and this is First Word, the only morning sports show in Cincinnati and the place where every day starts. We break down the biggest moments and set the agenda for the city. Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett join me to bring the insight and energy you need to start your day. The conversation starts with First Word. First Word, weekdays 7 to 11, part of the Crown Network.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, a Cincinnati native, and I have been in media for about 10 years now. Formerly on the radio here in Cincinnati, I grew my love and obsession with finding all things fun in Cincinnati and have now made it my life. I'm originally from the west side here, and then I've pretty much been a downtown girl ever since college. But I did leave for 7 years, and during that time, I really grew and harnessed and cut my teeth doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, learning how to ski in Colorado, and now I'm back here in Cincinnati, driven by curiosity and grounded by family.
I'm Paul Fritchner. I'm a 2019 graduate of Xavier University, and I've been covering college basketball for 10 years here in the Cincinnati area. I'm the host of the Rebound Rundown, a daily college basketball podcast during the season and a weekly show in the off-season covering everything you need to know about your favorite team. And if you're not a fan of a team here in Cincinnati, I have you covered from the national perspective as well. Follow it on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. We are moving along here. A couple things that made my radar that I want to put on your radar. You know, we always love talking about all of the good work that nonprofits here in this area have to do. And you should know that the Reds Community Fund, which we had Charlie Frank on this week, talking about what they're doing in Winton Hills today, July 23rd, the big Reds Community Makeover. You've got over 500 volunteers participating in this community makeover. The Reds partners, we know about how important partnerships are. We got the Reds, P&G, the Cincinnati Zoo, Cincinnati Children's, GE Aerospace, Kroger, United Way of Greater Cincinnati, the Greater Cincinnati Foundation, the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority are all getting together. These are pictures of previous community makeovers because what's going on today is you've got 500 volunteers who are helping to remake and clean up a stretch of Winton Hills, particularly along Winesty. Day-long volunteer project. You got the Winton Hills Academy, a new community health center, playground, STEM lab, murals, and an urban learning garden anchored by a one-of-a-kind tree school. The outdoor learning environment features a series of classrooms defined by different tree species. They're upgrading the Winton Hills Rec Center by upgrading the playgrounds, the ball fields, the courts. Winton Hills Community Council building. Additionally, this is cool. I wanted to mention this one. Complimentary shoes provided by Shoes for the Shoeless, a Toys for Tots drive going on as well, new beds for families in need. This is all happening in this Winton Hills community makeover that the Reds Community Fund is doing today. Again, hundreds of people volunteering, all coming out to do this. Really impressive stuff, and kudos to the Reds for doing this once again, coming out to Winton Hills, where the community makeover really all began 17 years ago. Kudos to them for doing this. Now, we have some other very important news to let you know about. And as you may or may not know, you probably don't know because I don't talk about it on the show a lot, I am a bit of a Cheez-It connoisseur. Extra Toasty is the best flavor there is. You know, you look for the K. You ever notice this? You look at the little serial number here. If there's a letter K there, that means it came from the Kansas City facility. That's where the best batches come from. The French onion dip flavor's okay. Haven't tried garlic bread yet. Cheez-Its are a little bit my thing. I actually have a box of Extra Toasty at home that I meant to bring in, and I just forgot because I hadn't had my coffee yet. Take a look at this. Ooh, roll that beautiful cheese footage. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Cheez-It is pairing up with Coors Light to drop what they're calling the ultimate tailgate snack. Obsessed with fans constantly looking for bold new ways to enjoy Cheez-It. This is from Nicole Sorensen, Vice President of Marketing for Cheez-It. And of course, when you think of bold flavor, you certainly think of Coors Light. Marking the first beer brand partnership in Cheez-It history. And who among us hasn't started beer by drinking a Coors Light for the first go-around? Cheez-It flavored Coors Lights, Coors Light flavored Cheez-Its. I don't know exactly how this works, but they're teaming up. That's the product there. Listen, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to try it. I'm going to try it. Miller Lite has a collab with Pringles right now that gets you beer, cheese, burger flavored Pringles. They're fine. I've eaten those. And now we've got Cheez-Its coming on board. Those are going to be on sale. Cheez-It Coors Lights going nationwide this August. Suggested retail price $4.99, but really priceless is what we're talking about when we're talking about collabs like that. My favorite flavor is Extra Toasty. That is, without question, by far the best. We do have the spicy here. I had to cover it up because there's a big label on the front there, but hot and spicy is good too, although there is no difference between the hot and spicy, the buffalo flavor, the Tabasco flavor. Anything spicy is kind of all the same. This is an insane bit that's on the back here. As you can see that there's a ice cream sundae that somehow has Cheez-Its involved. I don't know what the heck they were thinking, but the folks over at Cheez-Its are out of their minds, and they will collab anything, anytime, as evidenced by this latest bit with the Coors Light. Hey, that's our show. Thanks very much for checking us out here today. We are rolling right along. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, which means we've got movie stuff to bring you. The Odyssey is just selling tickets from now until when time ends. Box office still going to be crazy on that. Here's all the different ways you can watch us. 19.3 over the air. We're on Alta Fiber. We're on Spectrum. Stream us live or on demand. The website, of course, is cincycrown.com. First Word back at it tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett, going over all sorts of sports news that's happening. We're still in the middle of summer. Who knows what the Reds are going to do? You know, Anthony Munoz was on the show today for First Word. I happened to see that. He's who I would consider to be Cincinnati's Arnold Schwarzenegger in terms of, like, just... You ever think Anthony Munoz is worried about whether or not a joke that he told was funny? Some of us have more often than not. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks to Josh Rothstein for coming on the show. We'll be back tomorrow one more time to close out the strong week on a Friday with the Working Lunch. See you tomorrow.